The darkness enveloped the streets as I hurried my pace, my breath visible in the cold night air. The city had always felt safe during the day, but at night, it transformed into something sinister. I clutched my coat tighter, trying to ward off the chill and the unease creeping up my spine. Little did I know that this night would become a chilling nightmare. I took a shortcut through an alley, the flickering street lamp above casting eerie shadows on the walls. My heart thumped in my chest as I felt eyes watching me from the darkness. My instinct screamed to run, but I dismissed it as paranoia. There couldn't be anyone lurking in the shadows, could there? Suddenly, a rustling sound echoed behind me. I spun around, but nothing was there. My heart pounded harder, my breaths quickening. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking. There was no reply. I turned back, trying to shake off the unease, but every step felt heavier, slower. As I emerged from the alley, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still following me. I decided to take a different route, opting for a busier street. The reassuring hum of distant traffic and faint chatter from people provided some comfort, but the unsettling sensation persisted. In the midst of the city's clamor, a faint whisper brushed against my ear. It was soft and haunting, a sound I couldn't decipher. My eyes darted around, searching for the source, but the city's masked faces only stared ahead. Perhaps it was all in my mind, a figment of my imagination playing tricks on me. A few blocks later, I noticed a hooded figure standing across the street, half hidden in the shadows. They stared straight at me, their face indiscernible in the darkness. A shiver ran down my spine, and I quickened my pace, stealing glances over my shoulder every few steps. Days passed, but the eerie encounters lingered in my thoughts. I tried to convince myself it was all coincidental, that the city was filled with harmless strangers. However, that notion was shattered when I received a mysterious letter in my mailbox one evening. The envelope was plain, but my name was written in an elegant script, sending chills down my spine. Inside, a single sentence sent a shiver down my spine: "I see you even when you don't see me." There was no signature, no indication of the sender's identity. My mind raced with fear and curiosity, unable to grasp the sender's intentions. Was this some twisted prank or a genuine threat? I considered reporting it to the police, but without any concrete evidence, they might dismiss it as a mere prank. The days turned into sleepless nights, the letter a constant haunting presence in my mind. Every sound, every shadow, seemed to hold a malevolent intent. I avoided going out alone whenever possible, afraid of encountering the mysterious figure again. The city's once familiar streets now felt like a labyrinth of danger, and I was a mere pawn in a terrifying game. Fear consumed me, isolating me from friends and family. My anxiety grew as I struggled to discern reality from paranoia. In a desperate attempt to regain control, I installed security cameras around my apartment and kept a journal to document every strange occurrence. The footage showed nothing unusual, and my journal entries seemed like the ramblings of a paranoid mind. One evening, I ventured out to meet a friend at a crowded cafe, hoping the safety in numbers would calm my nerves. As I sipped my coffee, I tried to immerse myself in casual conversation, but my eyes kept scanning the crowd. My heart stopped when I spotted the hooded figure from before, seated at a table in the corner. They were staring at me, their dark eyes penetrating through the crowd. Fear paralyzed me, and I couldn't take my eyes off them. Before I could react, the figure vanished into the sea of people. Panic surged through me, and I excused myself, my friend bewildered by my sudden departure. I hurriedly made my way home, praying I wasn't being followed again. Determined to find answers, I decided to investigate on my own. I started by digging into the history of the city, searching for any reports of similar incidents or unsolved crimes. My research led me to an old newspaper article from a decade ago. The article described a series of mysterious disappearances that occurred in the same neighborhood where I lived. Each victim had received an ominous letter before vanishing without a trace. The police had been baffled, unable to find any evidence or leads. Reading this sent a chill down my spine. Could it be the same person behind those disappearances? Was I destined to share the same fate? My obsession with uncovering the truth intensified. I started visiting the local library, poring over old records and police archives. I reached out to the families of the previous victims, hoping they could provide any insight. Most were reluctant to speak, haunted by the memories of their lost loved ones. However, one elderly woman agreed to meet me, driven by her desire for closure. She revealed that her son had been one of the victims, and she had received a similar letter before his disappearance. Through her grief-stricken eyes, I saw the pain caused by an unsolved mystery, and I vowed to bring the truth to light. As my investigation deepened, I stumbled upon a small, forgotten bookstore hidden in a secluded part of the city. The place was dimly lit, filled with musty old books that seemed untouched for years. The store's elderly owner, Mr. Hawthorne, greeted me with a knowing smile. He seemed friendly but mysterious, like he held secrets only whispered between the pages of ancient tomes. I couldn't help but share my experiences and discoveries with him. Surprisingly, he didn't dismiss me as paranoid. Instead, he nodded gravely and spoke of an old legend surrounding the city, a tale of a malevolent entity that fed on fear and darkness, perpetually seeking new prey. Armed with newfound knowledge, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Mr. Hawthorne suggested that the entity could be weakened if its true name was spoken aloud. He believed that uttering its name would strip it of its power over its victims. Summoning all my courage, I researched ancient texts, searching for the name of the malevolent being. Days turned into nights, but I persevered, determined to end the torment. Finally, I found a passage in an old grimoire that seemed to hold the key to defeating the entity. It spoke of a ritual to confront the malevolent presence, requiring a circle of salt, candles, and the utterance of its true name. As the clock struck midnight, I prepared the ritual in the safety of my apartment. The room was illuminated by candlelight, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The circle of salt lay on the floor, its boundaries a barrier between me and the darkness. With trembling hands, I spoke the entity's name, each syllable like a razor slicing through the air. As the name reverberated in the room, a gust of wind erupted, extinguishing the candles. The darkness around me seemed to come alive, coiling and swirling like a sentient force. I felt a presence behind me, and without turning, I continued speaking the name. The air thickened with tension, and I sensed the malevolent entity falter. A primal scream filled the room, a sound that transcended dimensions. It was the malevolent entity, protesting its weakening grip on my soul. The walls seemed to vibrate with the intensity of its fury. But I persisted, channeling all my courage and resolve into uttering its name. The darkness began to recede, and the malevolent presence retreated, fading into the shadows from which it came. I collapsed to the floor, the weight of the encounter leaving me drained. The ordeal was over, and the city's sinister secrets had been exposed. With the malevolent entity defeated, the city felt different. The once ominous streets seemed brighter, and the people no longer appeared as potential threats. I learned to cherish the light and to face my fears with newfound strength. Mr. Hawthorne disappeared, leaving the bookstore deserted. Perhaps he was a guardian who appeared when the city needed protection from the darkness. Though the scars of that haunting experience would never fully fade, I emerged from the shadows with a profound lesson, that courage and determination could overcome the darkest of nightmares. And so, the story of Shadows of the Night, a tale of fear and bravery, would be forever etched in my memory. The city would continue to hold its secrets, but I knew that its shadows no longer held power over me.